this leads us to the next issue, which is the lithium find and the agreement, between Ghana and the Barari DV Ghana Limited for the lithium extraction. And this conversation about the agreement, the details of it, has been subjected to a lot of scrutiny, even before it gets to Parliament. Because this certainly needs parliamentary ratification. That's how important this mineral is, because it is the next big thing. The Minister for Lands and Natural Resources was supposed to address a press conference earlier in the week, in fact, 2 days ago, indicating why, in his view, this is the best agreement for Ghana at this point and under the circumstance. Take a look.
Just like bauxite and iron ore, to a minimum of 30%. An enhanced local content and local participation, including listing on the Ghana Stock Exchange, and value addition and beneficiation for all green minerals in our country. It was based on this policy that we entered into negotiations with the company, leading to the signing of the mining lease. It is the first time in the history of our country that we have successfully negotiated for 10% royalties for any mineral, which is one of the highest for exploitation of any mineral across the globe. We have already secured a 19% state participation in this mining company, 19%, with a requirement to scale it up to a minimum of 30% Ghanaian participation through listing on the Ghana Stock Exchange for shares to be made available to Ghanaians and Ghanaian entities. What this simply will mean is that when it is all over, Barari DV Limited, the holder of this mineral right of lithium, Ghanaian and state participation will be 30%. Foreign participation will be a maximum of 70%. And for the first time in the history of our country, a mining lease contains provisions for the establishment of a refinery, that is value addition and beneficiation. This mining lease has provision which insists that a refinery will be established here in Ghana for processing of this lithium, this mineral. This has never happened. This is the first time.
Well, so that's Samuel Abojinapo, who is the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, addressing the press earlier in the week. A number of benefits or the aspects of this deal that he put out. There's a few more that I'll add to it based on the information that we got from the Minerals Commission when we made a request for the details of this agreement to help us have a conversation that's based on the facts of this agreement as has been published. So we'll get into it. But just when he was talking, his brother, that is John Jinapo, who is the ranking on Edward Bower's committee, Mines and Energy Committee of Parliament, was also addressing the press in Parliament, indicating that this agreement has to come before the House for ratification. Take a look.
Article 268, and let me re-emphasize, Article 268 of the 1992 Constitution is explicit, and it states that any transaction, including but not limited to the application for a license to exploit a natural resource, requires prior parliamentary approval. On this note, I want to make it loud and clear and succinct and explicit that the agreement between the government of Ghana and Barari DV should be laid before Parliament without delay. And let me assure the people of Ghana that the minority would not let you down. We would scrutinize the agreement. We would not allow this agreement to be rushed through. We would seek the guidance, the involvement of civil society. We will speak to important personalities, including former Chief Justice Sophia Akufu, who has been vocal on this lithium agreement. The new order is lithium. Lithium is more profitable than gold. Lithium is more profitable than diamond. And the world order is moving to this green mineral. And so the minority would insist that Ghana benefits from this resource, and that the terms and agreements, if they are not in the interest of Ghana, the minority would kick against that.
So that's John Jinapo there, also indicating if the details are not in the interest of Ghana, the minority will kick against it. Now, further to what the minister said, this is what a few more we found out about this deal. First off, the life of the mine is 12 years with likelihood of extension through ongoing prospecting. So they're still doing prospecting to find more the lithium deposits. The average production, about 350,000 tons of concentrate. That's lithium at 5.5 to 6% lithium oxide. Projected mine construction and development cost, $185 million for 14 months. So that is the cost of the construction of the mine and the development over the 14-month period, $185 million. Payback period, about 17 months. That's when the company said they will recoup their investment and all of that within 17-month period. Average sale price. So the point is that they fixed the lithium concentrate per ton to $1,410 per ton, regardless of what happens on the international market. So that even if it goes down in price because of the movement of the pricing valuations or differentials on the international market, it is still fixed at $1,410 per ton. So there are other minerals that can be extracted from lithium. That's what you see there: kaolin, silica, and feldspar. Feldspar is used for for ceramics, the manufacturing of these tiles and so on. Is some of the ingredients you see there. Mandatory listing on the Ghana Stock Exchange. There's still discussion ongoing to have the company listed on Ghana Stock Exchange, and the Securities and Exchange Commission is also involved in it. These are the terms and benefits. Sector fiscal regime, royalty rate 10% on lithium and all associated minerals, and they put it there that it currently is 5% for the mining sector. So that's one of the things they say is an increase, an improvement, 10%. Corporate income tax rate 35%, same for the rest of the mining sector. Freed carried interest 13%, and currently it says 10% for the rest of the mining sector. So that's another improvement in the deal. Then they look at the sector fiscal regime. Get Fund 2.5, NHIL 2.5, growth and sustainability levy is there 1%. The Community Development Agreement Fund, 1% of the revenue that goes to the community. And then we see the uses of lithium in there for all of what we are seeing and all the others. So certainly there is a lot that is being asked of whether this is all we can get under the circumstance as a country. It still comes back to you, Parliament, and I'll start off with you, Mr. Edward Bauer, on this, because this is your committee is going to have the task of first looking into this even before it comes to the plenary, correct?
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
What are the issues in this deal? Reason why you think that we deserve more than what is there, even though it's an improvement on the existing mining agreements that we have been signing over the period?
Thank you very much, Alfred. You know that lithium, just like nickel or maybe silicon and whatever, they are known as what they call the green minerals or strategic minerals. And the reason is because of the crucial role they play in this energy transition discourse. So they've become very, very key. And just as in your introduction, when you said that it's going to be the next big thing, I say it's already the big thing. So that is the first thing. Secondly, and the reason is that the reason why they are called these strategic minerals is because of the role they play, particularly in renewable energy technologies and battery storage or maybe energy storage solutions. That's why they have become that. Now you will see that, for example, if say you were to take the batteries that are used in powering what we call the electric cars, minerals like lithium, nickel, cobalt are the components that's used in doing that. If we were to look at, for example, say the solar energy and wind energy, you see the batteries that are being used. Usually they have these rare elements, or what we call the green elements, that are used in converting whether it's the wind energy or whether it's the solar energy into electricity. So that is the key area, that the key role that these things play. And if you realize that these days, from transportation to food, because if you look at even this year's COP,
Yes.
this year's COP 28,
COP28,
they had included health and agriculture because of the fact that they all have consequences. The climate change issues have consequences on all this. That being said, so if you are a country that suddenly you've gotten one of these rare elements, lithium, fine. The first logical thing is that you must first contemplate the possibility of having a national policy that then guides the behavior of the state anytime they are engaging in situations like this. Now you have the minister in his public interaction indicate that they have a policy, and that he brought the policy before Parliament, announced it in Parliament, then took it to Cabinet, they enhanced it, and then so they have that. No, brother, that is not how policies are made. That's not how policies are. If I were to ask even the minister to produce a document for me that this is the policy guiding that, that's not how policies are made. You don't come, a document that you come and just say that you have information to give to Parliament, you go and stand, read, and nobody even has a copy. And that you are just giving Parliament information. And that becomes the basis for a policy. But all of us know that for public policies and other things, I will first and foremost, based on the experience we've had in the mining sector, what is it that as a government, or maybe for that matter, a state, what is it that you see that you think you want to, a problem that you need government intervention? Because you would have over 100 years we've been mining or other minerals. What is it that currently we find as a problem that we think we can have a policy around it? How are you defining it? What are the options, the potential policy options? Even with these policy options, what is the input of experts, stakeholders, the media? Then you will then come and say that, look, finally the executive will approve, and the Parliament will also look at it, then it becomes policy. We do not have that. And speak to everybody. If for nothing at all, I am a major stakeholder when it comes to the mining area, isn't it? As a parliamentarian.
Yes.
What is the policy that guides anything? So if you do not have a policy, what then guided government going into a lease agreement with, the subsidiary of Atlantic, what's their name again? Barari, Barari Ghana Limited. What
Barari
was the
Ghana
policy
Limited.
that underpinned, the state's posture towards the signing of this particular agreement? Now, yes, as per the Constitution, that's Article 2681, and then Act 703. These two laws mandates the minister, and actually puts responsibility on the minister to lay this lease before Parliament for approval. You know, even the Supreme Court, over a long period, we had situations where the Supreme Court actually they were not mining leases were not ratified by Parliament. Meanwhile, they had been operating for God knows until the MP for Ashama went to the Supreme Court, and there was a ruling that all those leases should be brought to Parliament for ratification. It is only when you bring this law to this lease to Parliament, then I can then first look. For example, the benefits that this lease is supposed to give us. Let's look at one. They indicate that, look, we are going to have 13% carried interest.
Yes.
Now, if even oil, which is a very new area as compared to mining, the moment we de-risked our, before we found oil, every time carried interest was 10%. So all the petroleum agreements we've had, you see that the carried interest is 10%. The moment we eliminated the element of risk, because these things, whether it is mining or it's what do you call it? What's the name again? Oil and gas exploitation. The initial is capital intensive. And so usually when there's a bit of risk, the state is a bit careful in trying to insist on carried interest.
Right.
And carried interest is simply says that, look, from the beginning, you just have a situation where you have 10% of the stake, but it only ends at the level of declaring commerciality. Post-commerciality, when you declare commerciality, every other thing, the state pays for it. So it's the carried is just for the exploitation period. I don't know whether I'm making sense. The moment they get to, they declare commerciality and they start development, you will pay for it. Anytime there are cash calls, as a stakeholder, you will pay. So that is what it is. So let's not create the impression as if from this thing up to the day we are getting all the lithium, everything, we are not going to be. It is just for a period. That's
so
the
13% carried interest is for that period of declaring.
Now, if you have a situation where even our oil that we just found recently, after we realized that, look, it is possible to go to our basins and get oil, our carried interest now for petroleum agreement is 15%. Then you will come and tell me that lithium, that has become, as to quote your words again, the big thing. You tell me 13% and I should be excited about. So that's the first point. I can only interrogate this if the lease is before me in Parliament. That's one thing. Two, you state that the growth and sustainability levy. It is not only that company that is going to pay for it. Indeed, it is a law that came into effect in May 2023, where they have categorized all companies into three: category A, B, and C. Category A are the banks, the telecos, the breweries. They pay 5% of their gross revenue. Then you have the mining companies and oil and gas in the upstream, paying 1% of their gross. Then any other company that does not fall between these two categories, they pay 2.5%. So it is not something that is so special that you say, the fact that they are paying 1% on the gross and sustainability levy, which actually came to replace. We used to have this law. It was National Fiscal Stabilization Levy. That was what the 2013 law. That's what they came to replace it. So when you say that, you are doing that, that is not a big deal. I need to have the lease before me to ask what went into these considerations.
Okay.
3, the government says that, look, that they are insisting on local content. And on the basis of that, they've made the minerals and minerals income and investment, fund, MIF, to buy stake in it. It's about 6% stake in it.
So 6% ownership through the $27.9 million investment into the Ghanaian project company.
Yes. So they are saying that, and that, look at that, and that they've also reserved about 11% when they list it in when they list it in the Ghana Stock Exchange. At least 11% must be indigenous. I would want to see when we talk about local content, and I have always been passionate about local content, not only in the mining, but even also in the oil and gas area. Beyond just this supposed stake that we have taken, what are the other arrangements in terms of local content and local participation within that? Why do I say so? I can have a situation where, as per the the agreement you have and whatever guidelines govern this particular relationship, it may be that, look, 90% of the workers for the company must be Ghanaians or must be indigenous. Yes, the company can actually go, and when you do a head count of these people, they will constitute 90% of Ghanaians. But you see, usually you need to go behind the numbers and look at the value of that. Because you can have a situation of just one expatriate. The salary will be all of them combined. So I will need to investigate and know. When you tell me about local content, what does it mean? Is it that I'm looking at the value of the people? Because the whole idea of local content and local participation is to ensure that you retain value in country. Is that not it?
Indeed.
So I need to investigate these things. So when you come and throw out those numbers, you don't move me. That's the basic thing. You don't move me with these numbers. And so when the minister makes these statements, I get worried about it. And again, you see, he says that, look, sir, the fact that yesterday I was behaving in a particular way that was uncouth doesn't mean that today, if I've improved on that, it means that I'm a very good person.
Yes.
You create the impression that, oh, all along are this in
mediocrity.
Yes.
Say mediocrity.
Because you don't get up and say, oh, that now for the first time we are ensuring that there will be a refinery in Ghana and that the lithium will be refined into a refined product before it is exported. Have we sat down? Yes. Have we sat down to even make an assessment and see how much does it cost for us to make sure that the whole value chain is in Ghana? Is it possible to look at that? At what point can we? Because look, my brother, if you have the Minister of Energy going around everywhere, even in Dubai, talking about how they are bringing electric cars to Ghana, you have discovered lithium. Lithium is a key ingredient in the manufacture of batteries.
For the electric cars.
For the electric cars. Then you are saying to me, without me knowing as to why you think that you can't have the total value chain, you say, apart from China, nobody's doing it. How many countries have discovered lithium? And you expect that they should have been all over the place. And so, that also is a problem for me that we need to sit down and look properly. And now, you see the byproducts they have put there. These byproducts have their own economic value.
Yes. You talk about kaolin, silica,
Kaolin, yes.
feldspar.
And you see, because it helps, particularly in the downstream sector. One typical example, the kaolin, one is the ceramics. You understand? We have companies in the Western region, other things that are involved in these things.
And you know what's interesting?
The question is that if you look at least, I'm just looking at the documents they have thrown into the public domain. They are asking that after coming into force in this particular lease, that in 4 months, the company must now explore and see what is the economic value of these things. The possibility of putting what they call factories and other things in, to take this stuff, because then this lithium refinery will then serve as a feedstock for these companies. Why on a Minerals Commission, with all the people they have, with all the expertise that they have, you see, sometimes you don't need to reinvent the wheel.
Are you sure they have the expertise?
Look, yes,
Professor
they do.
hold on.
You see, the problem that we have, Prof, is that in this country, unfortunately, and I say this because I've experienced it, particularly for not in the energy sector.
Right.
You have very skillful individuals in our organizations, but they simply do not act, not because they don't want to act, but they follow the dictates of the politician. They follow the dictates, and because of the fact that today, if I were to advise you that, look, I think that this is the way we should go, the fear I have is that I may lose my job. So what is the big deal? At the end of the day, I have to feed my wife and children, so I keep quiet over that thing. So yes, they do have those aspects in Minerals Commission. The challenge then is that, is it the case that they do not already even have data in terms of all these things? That is why I think it all then comes back to the issue of policy. Because if you have a state policy on this issue, on these minerals, it then will guide whoever is involved. That this is the way.
And that's the question, because you see, in the end, as we continue to ask for more, that we deserve more. One of the things that came up, I recall in 2010 when oil was discovered in commercial quantity, the Russian ambassador to Ghana at the time indicated that they have had the seismic data on the various areas where oil deposits are, in fact, crude oil deposits are in this country since 1950.
Oh, yes.
Right? And then you look at what the Geological Survey Department or authority now has about the kinds of minerals in this country. This company we're talking about, we understand, spent what, over $50 million doing their own prospecting, even up until, from 2020, in fact, 2012 to this moment. And so that question about we as a state investing in the process of prospecting, identifying the deposits of minerals that we have in this country, so that as we are asking for more, we have our skin in there as well.
Look,
how about that?
Alfred, I wish I would have gotten you this, but maybe hopefully in the course of the week, because the estimates will come, I will show the budget for Ghana, what do you call it? Geological
Survey Authority.
Authority. Show you the budget. And I have, if you ask the Chief Executive of Minerals Commission now, for over 4 years now, I have been on his neck as to the finance, what they call the issue of financing this particular organization.
They could have done that.
Yes, yes. Because you know why? The budget they give to them, and I say this where the budget they give, sometimes hardly are they able to pay their salaries. Now you have a situation where Minerals Commission then gets up and comes and says that, look, we, as part of their work program, we are giving X amount of money to a Geological Survey to do some prospecting for us. I think that sometimes we need to learn. Let's compare that to the the oil sector. In the oil sector, GNPC is our commercial entity, isn't it? Just like you have it. So GNPC is our commercial entity. We have Petroleum Commission that plays the same role as Minerals Commission. The law clearly states that, look, it becomes when you define, they do these assessment data and other things, and they gather the data, it becomes the property of what do you call it? Minerals Commission. What do you call them again? Petroleum Commission. And so when I'm coming to look at the data, I pay a fee. There's always a fee you need to go and look at the seismic data. So you pay a fee. Why is it that as a country? Because we know that when we gather even this data, for somebody to just come into the data room and go out, the person pays money.
Pay money.
Why don't you invest in this particular authority?
Right.
To survey, and they have the people to survey and get it that they don't. 50 million, do you want to tell me that?
50 million.
50 million. Do you want to tell me that? 50 million.
You see?
$50 million.
Yes.
That's $50 million.
We couldn't prospect this. So I agree that, look, we need to be a bit careful about it. And me, the last part I'm going to talk, you see, I saw the royalties issue there that he said they have increased from 5 to 10%.
Yes.
See, that is where let's not be, look, you know, the royalties basically is your gross income before tax, you take up just on top, you just take out the 10%.
Right.
That's how it's calculated. Now, you want to, and this is where actually the communities benefit, because it is in the royalty allocation that you will have portion given to the schools or whatever for the development of the particular community. Is it possible that we could look at these figures again? Because if the return, they are saying that, look, they need 17 months. And I listen very carefully.
Yes.
Look at the figures. As you see,
that will be
after
on the screen right
they
now.
need 17 months to pay back. So it means that they are assuming that they would have taken care of the cost by 17 months, they would have taken care of the cost. Every other thing posts that. And so for the first 17 months, the state is not allowed to tax them because they have to recover costs before they do. So the state is not allowed to tax them.
The payback period.
Yes. So 17 months. Look at the they say, even though they say the lifespan span of the, what do you call it, the mine is supposed to be around 12 years. The lease is 15 years. The lease itself is 15 years. So if you take the 1.5 months thereabout out of that, it means that going forward, everything is just profit.
Well, let me bring
everything is just profit. And so then the question you ask yourself is that, will 10% be very good for us in terms of our royalties? And your justification for it is that Ghanaians should start clapping because yesterday, our mining leases suggested that we were paying 5% royalties. So on the basis of that, 10% we have gone higher.
Well, Zabara, thank you. I mean, the fundamental issue here is that, just as the minister indicated, this certainly will have to go to Parliament, is it not? I mean, if you look at Article 268 of the Constitution, Clause 1, any transaction, contract, or undertaking involving the grant of a right or concession by and on behalf of any person, including the government of Ghana, to any other person or body of persons, however described, for the exploitation of any mineral, water, or other natural resource of Ghana, made or entered into after the coming into force of this Constitution, shall be subjected to ratification by Parliament. That is a prescribed, constitutionally mandated requirement. It is non-negotiable. It has to happen. Before we even get into the details of it, as Edward Bauer has indicated, the committee is going to look into it. But this constitutional provision has to be fulfilled, right?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. But, you see, that's a constitutional provision. It takes so much strength, energy, integrity for the committee members to be able to do the kind of work that can get us better terms, like Honorable Bar is advocating. And you heard former Chief Justice Sophia Kufu Yasantua also coming up on it. Yeah, I think Yasantua is the one who is sustaining this debate. Yeah, because she's been crying that, look, we are not getting better terms. And I've heard other stations take it up. So, Honorable, what I can say is that, yes, as for the Constitution, is there. It says you should ratify. With all these points you are making, and I've seen other people complain too, that, look, we've never had enough of what should belong to us. So the question is whether when you go to the committee, when the agreement is brought to your committee, you guys will align, you see, in the interest of Ghana. That is where it is. Look, we all know Parliament. I'm not the first to say, even the Honorable Speaker, when he was in opposition, that time he was minority leader, that time he said, the parliamentarians take money to do the bidding of businessmen, lobbies, people come and lobby them. So the main problem is that, look, money will be shared and Charlie, all these things will just die down in no time. That's the plain truth. Money will be shared and then in no time. So that's a real challenge.
That's your suspicion.
Yes, absolutely.
But
the speaker himself.
Is it? But
I've noted.
A member of the committee.
Yes.
A member of the committee.
Yes.
A member of the committee is seated next to you.
Listen.
A member of the committee is seated next to you.
We know it. We hear it. We know it. We know places. Whether he levy, whether what.
A member of the committee is seated next to you.
But listen, democracy. This is how we have to fight. We can't be scared. We have to fight. It's the speaker himself who said it.
Okay.
When the speaker said that parliamentarians were taking money to do the bidding of the businessmen, who took him to any privileges committee? The speaker said.
Hold on.
Yes.
For example, I'll come to you.
Yes.
Lawyer.
When the speaker said it, that time he was not speaker. He was, I think he was minority leader. Somewhere when they were when he was not a speaker. Nobody took him on. I think now Parliament accepts that, listen, the fact that we hear money being shared and they passing bills and doing things in the interest of businesses and some personal interests and the rest, it's too many. So they can't be gagging people. At least the last one, the speaker himself said it. Nobody took him on. Can you hear the point? He said some. So Honorable, that's where the pain is. As for on paper, we all know, why can't we get better terms? Why can't we get better terms? But let money be shared, and then, that's it. Oh, they'll come back and say some other things, that, and then the case, Yamutu. So that is where it is. Because as for 268 clause 1, yes, it's what it is. That it should be what? Ratified. Ratification all depends on what? The input you make. It all depends on the input. And as for the input, the paper by itself, the constitutional provision like this can't help you. It's your character. It's your character, especially when we tie it in with my all-time favorite, the best philosopher ever, Socrates, saying that, politicians, he says, you guys, you are not honest. There's no good one amongst you. It's always about sectarian interest. You see it? So when you look at it, it's hard. Honorable, you've spoken well, the things you've raised, yes, and they tie in with what Sophia Kufu, some of them, not all. She complained that no.
Right.
We can get better terms. But the question is, who will get up and fight that fight? Who will fight that fight? And that's how come we should maybe place a greater scrutiny on Parliament. And Honorable, I'm not the one saying, even the Speaker, 3 Sundays ago, he referenced a new survey that says that Parliament now has the lowest trust rankings. The latest survey, it was the Speaker himself who referenced it, that Parliament got 8% in terms of trust that citizens have for the work that parliamentarians do. It says 8%. Even President Kufuor, the clearing agent, got better. He got 14%. 14%. They say, the survey, they say President Kufuor, whose presidency was declared to be the second most corrupt institution in the GII report last year. In that survey that the Speaker himself referenced about 3 Sundays ago, he said the presidency got 14%, Parliament got 8%, and I think the judiciary got 10% or so. So, Honorable, when we say
the
this...
judiciary was better than us.
You were last.
Okay.
You chopped last. You see that thing?
Okay.
So, please, let's see what we can do. Like he said, there are experts. There are people who will tell you. And sometimes you meet the officers and the people in charge of the institutions, and they themselves cry. They say, look, can't we do better? Recently, I met one of the CEOs, and then he was saying, Martin, look, can't we get better? This very thing, how much are we entitled to? How much? And he was saying it with so much passion. A CEO, one of the resource governance institutions. Yeah, he felt very strongly about it. He said, look, will you want to read do your course in that area? How much is it we are entitled to? When I looked at him, the way he was reacting about how much are we entitled to, I said, oh, so you see here, lawyer, feeling very passionate about it, but the question is, how many people will support him? How many? People will just go and share money, and then the topic is dead.
But you see,
So you ask a lot more of Parliament.
Just
So
some information. Just you see, one, you should know that the challenges of this going through Parliament is because of the partisan nature of our Parliament. That's the first point. The second point that I need you to know is that, look, as per the agreement, as per our constitution, you actually need 2/3 of Parliament to vote to say they won't ratify this. That's what the constitution says.
Yes.
So you can raise the issues. You can do anything. If the government of the day that is sponsoring this particular lease comes to Parliament and then says that, look, we are shipping everybody in line, you won't get to do this.
Well, so you've referenced a number of times Sophia Kufuor's pronouncements
No, the
on
point I'm
this
just trying to
matter.
say is that
Gentlemen,
actually,
yes,
he
that
just,
is
okay, sorry.
clause 2. Article 268, clause 2. Yes, you need 2/3 of Parliament, the parliamentarians to have this ratified or otherwise. So this is what Sophia Kufuor said to me during the week when I spoke to her about this lithium deal. Take a look.
Due benefits must be floating around somewhere. That's why somebody will find this a perfect, wonderful, what did they say? It's the best. Yeah, they said it's favorable to Ghana and surpasses those of other lithium leases around the world. Well, maybe leases, but there are all kinds of lithium extraction formats which are much better. Lease is not necessarily the best methodology. There are so many other methodologies. There's joint venture. There's service contract. Of even the service contracts of many different permutations. If you like, I can later on send you write-ups on what other lithium countries are doing. Yes.
Well, so you disagree with the Minister of Lands and Natural Resources and the President making the point that this deal is the best deal for Ghana?
It's not the best. You know, it's like percentages. What's the base figure? You know, if you're from some super miserable formulation to this, then you will say that's the best Ghana has had. Yeah, maybe it is, but it's not the best Ghana could have had.
Well, it is not the best that Ghana could have had. That's Sophia Kufuor, former Chief Justice of the Republic of Ghana, when I spoke to her earlier in the week. I'm going to go for this quick break. When I come back, Professor Ransford Jampo is going to have his take on this. And then the former Deputy Attorney General, parliamentary candidate for Timpani on the ticket of the MPP, Joseph Penka, will also speak on this matter. Professor Jampos is from the constituency where this lithium has been found. Yes. So that's why you've seen a number of the writings about this lithium that he's put out throughout the week. So right after this quick break, he will talk. Stay with us. We'll be back shortly. Welcome back to Key Point. We're live on 3FM 92.7 as well on TV3 Ghana on Facebook, DSTV channel 279, all across the world on 3news.com. A number of you sending messages on this. Lawyer Richmond Roxon, who's also an energy analyst, says, if the state is not conscious and deliberate about building capacity, the country will continue to chase minimal percentages when it comes to natural resources. Building capacity. should be the focus. In other jurisdictions, these companies are employed to mine for the country because over the years, they've saved monies earned from natural resources. Once you are not investing any money as a country, these are the challenges that you will face. And another one here says that Kwame Nkrumah always was 1,000 years ahead of us when he established the ceramics factory, just because Russia had also discovered lithium deposits as far back as 1950 in Ghana. This was his thinking. Alfred, go to the ceramics factory that Kwame Nkrumah established, and you will be sad today in Salt Pond, same place, Central Region. Professor Jampo, this is what is happening.
Well,
you know that ceramics factory.
Yes, I know
it's actually been converted into
Something
I think
they are
like
doing,
is either a church or a warehouse, one of them. Yeah, the last time I went there.
Alfred, let me say, you see, academics who have gone far, or if you're an academic and you want to go far, you must be humble. So, academics worth their salt. They don't tout their own credentials. That's why you don't hear me calling myself Professor Ransford Jampo. I call myself Ransford Jampo. You call me Professor.
Indeed.
I call myself Ransford Jampo. Now, I'm not here to blow my own horn, but I've heard some people asking about what do you know about natural resources. I was promoted to the rank of not associate professor, but full professor. And they opened a bracket and said, you are a professor with special expertise in governance and natural resources.
Great.
Now, I had not even paid attention to that, but you can go to ResearchGate and check me. My most cited article is on natural resources. It's titled Saving Ghana from Its Oil. Okay? So I know much about natural resources. And I'm sure that those who went to do this deal, they didn't know that I come from the area. I come from Fantiman. Let me speak Fanti a little to my people. Nana nom, you know, I offending the youth in the area. Emede na watchi menye mwakasa. Menye offended then Omahin nkusukum menye wa akasa. Omahin dominase dansbre kwa ebu ewusi menye wa akasa. Omahin ekunfi menye wa akasa. Omahin mankesim wa supo menye wa akasa. No onye youth group a wo achemfo no onye mfanteman na ade. Na wotwi menye ma a meeting. Na yenyimaya aka. To wonka wa akoma ntu wonyem. Nyame na adom. Many of you are not illiterate at all. Inti mo record no dem bre ye kan no ye be hia ye meeting kakra next week so ye be ye na nhihye biara a yezibo gwa akwam dem bra obeye madam fomungu ya wanya na da eguzi a wanya ofomi ozi nsunsuando papa bebre mfantema no ye be fa dem kwa no do na wonka wa akoma menyim kasa no I believe I gave you some hope. Na oye medede once wonya confidence wo mumu na mo oye de yantina ho madam bra watututu eguzi wo baby a watete o man no na kro na pansam no ya makwan ma bi nkodo dem wo mfanseman yenye na
in other words
na ekwan bi a ye be fado a ye be kire the sana yes ahwe voting party na mesma ye nyamakra ya sonko enti dem kwan a ye be fado a be manyipa yina hu de yes ye sonko no wo dem lithium a wenya opede wo botu opede wo bobro ye nkaba fa ya beti na wachichire nyama bi wode hye watete o ikro ne pansa wo mbra won manya bibi papa bi emfim no dem kwan ye be fado enti no wonhwe mayim next week ayemfo ye hia 3 days time emde menye youth no so ye be sen hye biom kwan ya yemfa ye strategy na yemfa ntugana
you not put your strategy out
your phone na menkasa yemfa ntugana na maba samereba maba ye tsafoma ye hye bo. We are smarter than the politician. You bet you there. Infanteman no in central region. One in school, papa. One watch out the papa. The dream ye way. Then some my politician have baked on royal kabam fire, but no my own coins, no can't change the wire, papa. All right, let me to which I'm just saying that you don't.
He's spoken to his people, so he's coming to.
I'm just saying that I've spoken to those who matter in the area.
Okay.
I've met with the 4 paramount chiefs. We've spoken. I held a meeting with the youth groups. We know what we have discussed. Okay, and these people, they can go about buying and bribing their way, but they come and meet us there. They'll have to kill us before they mine. Okay? Let me say this, and then I'll come to what I recommend, because I don't trust what Parliament can do. Now, in modern best practices, you see, the exploitation of mineral resources is supposed to be guided by certain agreement and blueprints. You have what you call the joint venture agreement, you have the service contract agreement, and you have the colonially imposed concessionary agreement. So 3. If you want me to put it in popular part, so when we talk about the joint venture agreement, what happens is that the state itself would come and hold a certain share and percentage, share in the company that is going to be mining.
Right.
So the natural resource, so that whatever is achieved from it, because the state belongs or is part of the mining company, the state is not shortchanged. Then you have a service contract arrangement that says that, look, if you come to my country and then you come and mine, whatever you mined from the ground belongs to the states. So the states will take whatever you have mined and then pay you the cost of your mining, plus, if you like, a profit margin. Okay? So, you see, you mine, the state owns it, and then pay you. So, how much did you bring in mining? We didn't have money to do the exploration, and we didn't have money to do the exploration, and we didn't also have the money to mine. So, you brought $100. Okay, to do the exploration and to mine. When we find the lithium, it belongs to us. No, but see, it beats my mind. Listen, we are here. Somebody tells us that there is lithium here. Yes. TV3, you don't have money to get into the soil, okay, to mine the lithium. So I come in here. I said I have the resources. So I mine and bring the lithium out. Who will it belong to?
All lands are here and the natural resources are held in trust.
So it's supposed to belong to you. But under the other agreement, arrangement I'll talk about later, it gives ownership to the one who has mined. But under service contract, when this thing is mined, the ownership is still, for the state. Then the state will tell you that, look, you spent $100 in mining, so get your $100. Everybody gets into business for profit. So in addition, if you like, we'll give you additional $100, okay, as your profit margin. Take it and go away. Then we would own the natural resources, whether we would chew it, whether we would pomade ourselves with it, whether we would export it in its raw state, whether we will refine it, it belongs to us. We'll decide. Then you have the concessionary arrangement, colonially imposed concessionary arrangement, that says that if you come with your resources and you mine, it's like what you mine and you bring out is for you. You take it and then give us some. So you see, fanciful, there's a difference between chempe no farm obi. Okay, chempe na farm obi. See, farm obi no onye there. Eka nkan ye sure ni yedza agro obi nya nedzi be na aka gi hwim finise ma na se farm obi ja na amane bi.
So what do you mean?
No, what I'm saying is that the current arrangement is in line with farm obi. They will go and take it and then they will give us some. Instead of we owning it and then paying them off. They are two different things. Okay? So under the farm obi arrangement that they are operating, what happens is, you see, so they will tell you, we'll give you 1% of royalty annually. The IEA did some conservative estimate, and they said that the 1% amounts to about 6 billion. And because they think that we are so poor, we have not seen money before, and we all went to IMF just to fight for 3 billion that is not even being given to us at a go. The moment they mention 6 billion, then we should be shaken because they think we have not seen money before. But compare the 6 billion to what they are also going to be getting annually. So 6 billion.
So the Community Development Agreement Fund.
6 billion. That's just by way of example. You get 6 billion for the community. Don't forget that 6 billion for the community go to the state, and then the state would later bring some to the community. And you know how difficult it is to even access resources from the state. Go and see how the District Assembly Common Fund, the delays, in disbursing it and all that. So 6 billion. But compare 6 billion and they are getting 6 million. We are going to be getting 6 million, okay, a year as community development, whatever. And then they are going to be getting 24 billion. 6 million, yeah. I mean, the IA did that kind of conservative.
The projection they made was 24 billion annually.
Annually. And
that's
then
a year.
if you are giving us annually, just conservatively, 6 million for community development. Okay, compare 6 billion and not 1 billion, 6 million and 24 billion. And the
dollars,
yeah, $6 million to the community, which may not even be given to them, and then $24 billion to the one who is mining. You see, that's what we refer to as farm mobi. And so we want that farm mobi arrangement to stand instead of owning it. But what is wrong with this? Get the resources, own it. How much did you spend in exploring it? $100 will pay you. We'll give you a profit margin of another $100. Take it and then we own it. Compared to they coming to own it and then be giving us tokens. So you see, because the minister and because the government and because the Minerals Commission know that we are poor, what they are doing is that they are telling us, oh, you get this amount of money. You get this amount of money. You get this amount of money. But they are not telling us how much those mining agencies or companies are going to get. That one they are not telling us. And they are not telling us how much they themselves, the minister, the mining agency, the mining commission's head, and then all those parastatals and government agencies that are involved in these deals, they are not telling us how much they are going to be getting. Listen, I don't trust anybody, don't trust any politician who tells you that he means well. For you, they don't mean well.
You don't trust any politician.
I said it is not possible that the minister will come and tell us that this is the best of deal. You can't tell us. If it's the best of deal, we'll have to know. It doesn't lie in his mouth to tell us. How much is he, the minister, going to get? Has he told us? How much is not a Minerals Commission going to get? Has he told us? And how much is the mining agency or company? How much are they going to get? See, they are not telling us all those things. I gave this as an example. $6 million against 24 billion. I'm saying million and billion. $6 million as against 24 billion. Okay? So please, let nobody fool us. Your son go undertake an exam, scores 20%. And then the next time another son of yours goes to undertake same exam and he scores 22%, and then you want us to be clapping for the 22% because it's an improvement of the 20%, they are all fail marks. Okay? So we are not ignorant. Okay? We are not an ignorant people at all. And then we are saying that if you go to so many countries that are major lithium manufacturing countries, like Mexico, like Bolivia, like Chile, and like Argentina, they have even more an improved model for mining lithium, even beyond the service contracting that I'm talking about. Yeah. Why are we not learning from them? Now, people are telling us that it has to go to Parliament, and Parliament must, look, with the greatest of respect to the Jinapos, 1 for 1 against, we don't trust Parliament. There's nothing that they can do. People are hungry. Members of Parliament are looking for money to go contest their parliamentary primaries. And so these people, they will succeed in buying everybody and in lobbying everybody. Honorable Bawa, you let me finish.
You have a member of parliament.
He's a member of parliament. So, when they bring it to you, collect. But don't you have evidence? The history of this particular parliament that we have is a parliament that backs, but when it has to act, it doesn't act.
You have instances where parliament has acted.
Look, haven't we been here? Oh, look, we will not approve this. This appointee will not approve him. This one won't do it. They'll come out to shout. But when it gets to the crunch, then they will disappoint. It's been 1-2 minutes. It's never happened that Parliament said, we are going to do this, we are going to prevent this, and they were able to do it. They will not approve the budget. This e-levy will not agree. Wait. Oh, but that one, okay, maybe 1/10. Don't worry. but they don't. So the point is that I do not trust Parliament in anything that they want to do. They will be backing. Okay, but the solution, I have two solutions. You see, number one, Ignatius Kutua Champon, when he became head of state and he saw that we had gotten ourselves, so tied with ill debts that he could not understand. He came up with the Yentia policy. We all too might say, won't pay. What can you do? He said, we won't pay. Yes, he repudiated all foreign debts. He said, won't pay. You see, I can see what the minister is doing and what the MPP administration is now doing. I describe what they are doing now as suffering from an end of service syndrome. The minister is suffering from an end of service syndrome. See, where he feels that he's going away. So my endaded bande, whatever he wants to get it now. Okay, at the concessional arrangement, they know what they'll get. The mine itself will take place in 2025. So you get what you have now, and then you go. And then the next time they are mining, you are not even there. Let me say this. The election, if this is how they are going to be going, the 2024 election, I see it as a more contest between the NDC and Alan Shemantin.
Okay.
Any of them who wins, I will urge that party or that government to repudiate this agreement. We are a sovereign nation. We cannot sit here for anybody to come from his country, aided and with the connivance of our own political elites, to impose agreements that are inimical to our development on us. And so, Mr. John Mahama, Mr. Alan Shemantin, the two of you, if this is how the MPP is going to go, then I'm saying that the election is between the two of you. If any of you win, I am urging you, make it part of your campaign promise today that if you win, you will repudiate that agreement and ensure that the right thing is done. We've been cheated for far too long. How come Muammar Gaddafi was getting 79% of the exploration of his oil in his country?
Okay, well...
No, I've not finished. Please.
Round up for me.
No, when they are talking, they tell them
round up. I did. Round up. Round up for me.
Listen, how come he was getting 79%? I mean, look at us. Look at Nigeria. Saudi Arabia has oil. Nigeria has oil. Look at them in terms of development. That's how Pop Kagame said that if you see the owners of natural resources going to IMF to beg for money or for assistance, it means there is something wrong with their heads. The second solution is that, like I indicated, I've already discussed with my people. I'm saying these people, they will buy everybody. When they see you talking, they will be calling you. I've been receiving some calls. But me, for example, I believe in my conviction. Okay. So they will be calling everybody. They will bribe their way. They will be talking to members of parliament. They will be, our parliament, it backs but it doesn't act. So they will be talking to all of them. At the end of the day, they will get their licenses and everything to go mine. But when they get to the community, they'll come and meet us there. And we've decided that they will then have to kill us before they mine. So let the government in power brace itself. They will have to slaughter all of us before they mine. You know, there was a community, I think, somewhere in Ashanti region that prevented some miners from mining because they said, yeah, you went to the government, they have given you all the licenses to come and mine. But when they got to the community said, the chief said, the land belongs to us, we will not allow you to mine. And they prevented that. So I've told my people that if all these things, all this advocacy and all these interventions aimed at ensuring that we get a good deal does not materialize.
Well,
then,
listen
to me. If they don't get to materialize, then what we are saying is that we will go there. Listen, they will come and meet us there. They'll come and meet us in the community. They will have to kill all of this, before they mine. And this one, I am passionate about it. I come from that community. And you see, to say that Central region is among the poorest regions in Ghana, go and see Infantiman. And we found this, and you don't want it to benefit us. You don't want it to benefit the nation. You know, last 2 weeks I was here when John Mahama was talking about his 24 hours, our production thing. You remember I brought this to the fore that beyond that, Mahama should look at how they can renegotiate certain agreements to ensure that we get the best from our gold and from our oil. Okay? We are thinking people. So, Mr. Mahama, I'm telling you once again, if you are looking for the mandate of the people, I want you to make this also as part of your promise. If they fail to listen to us, your government would have every right to repudiate every ill-conceived and inimical agreement in this lithium deal.
Okay.
They must there will be consequences. But when Achampon said that, there was consequence, but because he had been able to galvanize the support of the people behind him, and the nation survived.
There was one thing that, Professor Jampo, thank you. There was one thing that.
Are they going to gather Ghana for us? 50 million. We don't have 50 million.
So,
I mean, what is wrong with us?
Professor Jampo, thank you. You made your point. Now, Mr. Menga, I gave you the last word because all these concerns still rest on an action or inaction.
Allow me to be interjecting you because this one I'm passionate about.
So, after taking all these things into consideration, although this agreement, we see certain improvement in specific areas as compared to hold on, Professor Jampo. As compared to what we have existing.
Absolutely. Basic.
There is also...
It may not be enough.
No.
What is enough? What is not enough?
No, hold on. Professor Jampo, hold on.
20 and 22%, are they not all F?
Professor Jampo, you don't...
What are you talking about?
Professor Jampo, you don't have the floor. Professor Jampo, hold on. Professor Jampo,
I'll be interjecting.
Professor Jampo,
please.
Respect the platform with all due respect, please. You have spoken. Let Joseph Benka speak.
Speak Ghana.
Let's respect the decorum on this platform. Thank you. Now, taking into consideration all these concerns that have been raised,
stop these.
I want to find out specifically what exactly should be the response going forward, especially because of the specific issues that have been raised about the fact that, looking at it, we actually deserve more than we are actually being given. Mr. Benka.
First of all, let me thank you so much. And I have listened carefully to my three colleagues who are panel members of and I think that by and large, the summary of what I will say they have said is that they care for the country. That's what I will say. The three of them, what they have submitted, they are all speaking for the nation. And I'll speak for the nation. But this is the point. I watched a video of Professor Lumumba that I was privileged to host in my village last year at a festival. Okay. You know, he made a statement that, and it's now like a cliche, that we have all the resources in Africa and we are poor. And he got a response from another person. It was a very short video. The person says, you have all the resources, you don't have the technology to exploit. So those who come to exploit, take it away and give you nothing. You know, that was the response a white voice gave. Now, if you, I'm going to digress a little. If you go to a place like DR Congo, the mineral deposit in DR Congo alone is, the worth of it is more than the entire US economy.
only the mineral deposit in that country, but go check the pervading poverty in certain parts of DR Congo. Now, let me import it to Ghana. It is true that over the period, we have as a nation deliberately undertaking certain policies and agreements with international bodies and companies that may be detrimental to our development. It may be the case. And we've shortchanged ourselves over a long period of time. It may be the case again.
No, don't say it may be. It is.
So, because the fundamental question we should be asking ourselves is, what was the policy consideration and the basic economic argument that convinced us as a nation that most of our oil agreements and mineral exploration agreements, we went for a 5% royalty? What was the fundamental consideration as a nation that we did that? Now, I shift a little bit and I make this point. What has been the reaction of some technical experts and industry players to this particular agreement? You recall that a renowned person like Sam Jonah made a statement on this matter, and quite a number of people made statements on this matter. What I want us to agree before we even proceed is that fundamentally, the benefits that we are going to get from this agreement that will accrue to us as a state are better than the previous agreements we had. Even though, and I want to go on that, even though there is still room for improvement, which to a very large extent, I agree. But you see, again, because of our economic circumstances and the fact that we do not, in most cases, have the resources to go into exploration and etc., prospecting and etc., then we rely on those companies and entities foreign that have the technical and financial muscle and strength to come and do the exploration and prospecting, so that we then enter into agreement with them for the benefit of the nation. Now, if you look at it, I mean, all of us are aware that by the figures raw as they are given, it is very clear that all indications, there is a marked improvement over the previous agreements that we had. But Prof says that F is an F. And if 10 is F, 20 is F. But 20 is near a pass mark than 10.
Oh,
hold on.
Is that you?
I am saying that 20 is near a pass mark than 10. What I'm saying is that I am not saying that the agreement as it stands is the best. I have not said so at all, and I do not intend to say so. But I'm saying that it is a better agreement compared to all previous agreements that we have entered into. And there is no debate about that. In your own submission,
it's only the best that is good for Ghana.
Yeah,
not what is good enough.
You know, let me tell you this. You have to stagger. And you will eventually get there. But because of our situations and circumstances and the times that we live in, I will say, and we all agree that it's a better deal, but we need the best. That's the argument we are all making. That it's a better deal, but we need the best. And starting with this particular thing, and then there are some of the things that you said that are purely speculative. Individual benefits that are going to be derived from this. There will be no documentary proof whatsoever. And that will remain in the realm of conjecture and speculation. Wild as it may be.
But
and I like to stay away from that.
But you know,
as a lawyer,
I don't stay away from them.
I do not have
I don't stay away from them because we know. We know what happens. Please, we know what. Let us not pretend. Don't say that it's conjecture and that the minister is not going to get anything. The minerals resources they are not going to get anything, and we are conjecturing.
Let him.
Don't say that. You're a politician.
I'm saying that, Professor Jampo, if
Don't
you are pushed to strict proof, all that you will say will remain in the realms of conjecture and speculation.
We have not physically seen.
You are only engaging in anticipatory breaches. That you are anticipating positively that people are going to individually benefit. But you will not be able to provide concrete evidence to substantiate what you are saying. And I continue to say that you know for a fact that it will be difficult for you to say that individuals are going to benefit and you provide evidence to that effect. When you read the agreement, is there any portion of it that says that people are going to individually benefit? As you have stated. And I'm limiting myself to the agreement before me. Any other thing
not
is in the
all
realm of
realities can be proven with evidence.
So the point is that
all realities
can
be proven
with
evidence.
If you allow me to land,
Joseph Penka.
my point has been very clear. I agree that we need to improve on the benefits the state stands to derive from these agreements. I totally agree with all of you. But I also want to say, and I do not hesitate in saying so, that what we have in this particular agreement is an improvement. It may not be good enough, but it's an improvement over. It's an improvement over the previous agreements that we have had on all fronts. And if you read it, it's very clear. 10 to 13, 5 to 10, and etc. It may not be sufficient. It may not be sufficient. And I stated that. But in the end, if we make progress, then we can call for more and then negotiate better. In any case,
we'll get them more. Let me understand this.
What I want to urge government and players in the ministry and the state institutions is that we should listen to the public as well and incorporate the views that are supposed to enrich this particular agreement before Parliament takes custody of it and looks at it to be able to ratify it and etc. Because we should not wish away what people are saying. Some are raising very genuine concerns, and in doing so, as Ghanaians, this debate that we are engaging in is meant to enrich whatever agreement we are entering into, and to bring out maximum benefits for the people of Ghana. So, I mean, where the criticisms and cynicism that people are raising are such that we find some genuineness in whatever they are raising, then aspects of that can be incorporated so that maximum benefits are derived. Because remember that ultimately government is there to maximize the happiness of the people in accord with the directive principles of state policy in our constitution. So because of that attempt to maximize the happiness of the people by the directive principles of state policy, government then engages in acts consciously that will be able to satisfy the economic circumstances of times. But in doing so, again, there are difficulties. And this is one of them. So I think that this agreement may not be a perfect one. It may not be the best for us, but it's a better one over the previous agreements that we have had. And we need to improve on it as we move on. But all that I will urge is that we can incorporate some of the concerns that are being raised into this particular agreement and come up with an improvement over whatever we have had before Parliament takes custody of it and ratifies.
But before we get to, you say that we have to get to a point where we can then demand better. What do you mean? Are we not at that point where we can demand better?
No, we can always demand better things from government from day one.
No, I'm talking about or the day after. In the case of this agreement, for instance.
So what I have said is that, and that is why I mean, my brother Edward Barr stated it. My brother also stated, and Prof also stated, all of us agree that there is an improvement. But again, as we have indicated, and as there is some level of unanimity among the panel on the table, there is a need for us to improve upon the agreement to reap maximum benefits. Because we are looking at how much is going to accrue to the company and how much we are going to get. And we are saying that maybe what we are getting is a pittance compared to what the company is going to reap and all that. But also remember that no investor comes to invest his money without the thought of profit. Every investor who brings in money to invest is intending ultimately that he's going to make profit out of it. In any case, as a nation, as a state, if we had the resources and we had the technical know-how and we had trained engineers and etc. to extract and exploit these resources and own 100% of it, we could have gone ahead to do that. Okay. But I don't think that there's any government that has attempted that in the past, at least in the Fourth Republic, where ownership of such agreements are basically government. And that we have always been soliciting for assistance and cooperating with entities foreign to be able to do this exploitation, and then we have the benefits that would be derived to the state.
So while we're asking for more, we develop capacity to own. Yes, for example, then I'll go for a quick break.
Let me say this. Alfred, please. I'm begging you. It's not because I want to be interjecting, and it's just that sometimes I get so passionate about some of these things. So this is never to make your work difficult. So take control of the program. I'm not going to be interjecting. I mean, I'll just ensure that you go ahead moderating the program. Otherwise, I know my incessant interjection makes your work quite difficult. It's not going to happen again. Right.
Okay,
thank you. Thank you very much. And I'll go for this quick break. On the basis of this, I have to take a quick break. We'll be back shortly after this quick break. Stay with us.